Here's the Vex Ikora was talking about.
It is currently August 16th, Saturday. August 16th, Saturday. 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning. I wished I could reschedule and put this video out ahead of time, because I know Bungie finna nerf this. Don't know when, but I want to get this build out to you hunters as soon as possible. But I can't reschedule. I schedule my videos. I can't reschedule my videos on TikTok. Once I put a time on it, it gotta upload. I can't rechange it. So I gotta keep things organized, so I can't push this forward and push the other videos back. YouTube members of the channel, y'all lucky. Y'all can see this immediately. So in case Bungie do nerf this, because it's dropping on Monday, in case Bungie do nerf this by Tuesday, you know, at least the YouTubers, y'all get to enjoy it. I'm sorry people that's watching on a normal time schedule. But what we have here is insane, and I'm going to break it down slowly for you guys so y'all understand every gear in this build. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, every gear in this build, I set it up that you go unga boonga with this build. You don't got to think. It's just strong. That was Mythic. Y'all just seen me do. And I was being reckless. And I did it like it was child play. Solo. You can solo Mythic with this build. That's how broken it is. Let me go through everything in this build. Okay, first of all, this build, we are using Winter Bite. Winter Bite is a featured weapon this season, so automatically getting a plus 10% extra damage because of it being a featured weapon. So off back, it's already doing 10% more damage. Off back, okay? Winter Bite does extra damage when it has magazine, basically. You gotta have at least one magazine in the clip, okay? And it slows people when you swing on them, so you get shadow damage as well. You're gonna keep swinging and freeze them, and you get shadow damage, which does increase melee damage as well. After the percentage on the screen, but that's not important here. Not that important, but it does apply, right? Winter Bite got buffed this season in Edge of Fate, where basically when you got ammo in the magazine, instead of you getting a 20% buff, you get a 50% buff. So basically, always have ammo in the magazine of Winter Bite so it can do its insane damage. Now, we are pairing Winter Bite with Triton Vice, the Hunter Exotic. Triton Vice making that increased glade reload speed and melee damage when surrounded. I believe, I'll throw it on screen just to be 100% sure. I don't want to put out false information. Melee damage when surrounded is increased by 200%. And when you're done being surrounded, the perk stays on for 5 seconds. So you still get to enjoy the brokenness of the glaive and find your next crowd to beat up on for 5 seconds with this exotic perk, okay? The second and third part we don't really care about, but it's benefits, right? Glaive melee final blows overflow around to the magazine. We want to keep ammo in the magazine of Winter Bite, so we don't have to ever worry about reloading it. Perfect. And then we got glaive projectile final blow detonate on, detonate in an explosion. We're not really gonna be using Winter Bite projectile like that, but you can use it for utility to freeze the enemies in the room. And then, like I said, melee damage to the enemy that's frozen, do bonus damage to shatter them. So it does increase the damage of your first strike with Winter Bite when you do it, okay? Now, your weapons in this build can be whatever you want. I went with Festival of Flight because it has attrition orb on it, and I want to get orbs in this build. I can just shoot it out there, then swap right back to my glaive and make an orb for me. I pick it up, and I can continue my tyranny, okay, of destroying all the enemies in this room. But your special can be whatever you want. You can put on Mint Retrograde if you want. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. And then I got on the Yurtai Apex on as my submachine gun. But again, The 2 other weapons, you can use whatever you want. You can put on another glaive if you want to. I do not care. That's how broken this build is, okay? Now, let me explain why Winter Bite is doing the same damage right now and why I know it's going to get nerfed very soon. Glaives and Edge of Fate, they damage don't increase from the weapon stat. They increase from the melee stat. So it doesn't matter how high your weapon stat is. If you're doing a melee attack with a glaive, it does not do extra damage. It does extra damage from the melee stat. Now you're probably saying like, oh, okay, Alchemist, so what? Winter Bite, there's gotta be a bug. Winter Bite is getting a buff from the weapon stat and the melee stat. So not only are you getting the bonus 15% extra damage against the regular enemies in here, besides bosses you'll be doing 10% when you got your weapon stat at 200. Not only getting the 15% from weapon stat, you're also getting the 30% from the melee stat when it's at 200. So with your stats, you want to prioritize melee first, get melee to 200, and then you want to get at least 100 weapon stat so you can kill champions and stuff easily. Boss, you have to have 200 weapon stat as well to do more damage to the boss. But trust me, you ain't gonna really need the extra damage against the boss. You really ain't, with how broken the build is. You're gonna destroy them, I promise you. But the extra damage is there, just saying. So, subclass. And then I'm going to break it down. I'm going to do a review at the end to tell you what all tying in together and making this broken. 1, we got on Silence Wall so that we get Frost Armor with Facet of Purpose. Okay, so Silence Wall is our super. You can go Tether if you want that 30% debuff while swinging with Winter Bite. You can go Tether and get a Void Overshield. They both work out. I just prefer Frost Armor because it stays on longer and you get multiple stacks up for damage reduction. But it stays on longer without worrying about if I get hit, it gets turned off. I don't have to worry about that. Void Overshield, it stays on for 5 seconds instead. It's a higher damage reduction, but the moment an enemy hit me and that shield goes away, then I just lose the perk immediately. I don't like that, okay? So we got on Gambler's Dodge so that we keep Shade Stepping to get our melee back because we are using Combination Blow in this build. Why are we using Combination Blow, you may ask? In Edge of Fate, Combination Blow melee buff now works for glaives. So this will be buffing up our damage for Winter Bite even more. Our grenade, we got on Dustfield Grenade. Again, like I said, when the enemy is frozen, your first melee attack to it, to that enemy does dumb damage. So I want to throw Dustfields at strong enemies and then just go crazy with Winter Bite on them. Winter Bite does slow, so they get frozen quicker, and then I can just keep doing a free Shatter Chain while the enemy is still inside that Dustfield Grenade, aka the bosses, to do more insane damage to them. Stash Executioner. This make it that we go invisible whenever we kill somebody. That's debuff. Winter Bite always doing slow, so we always going invisible. But that's not the reason why we're using it. We're using it because now Style Executioner works with all melees. So when I'm invisible, the first strike I do with Winter Bite will get the melee buff from Style Executioner, which I believe is 300%. I'm gonna throw it on screen just to be 100% accurate, give y'all the right information. I believe it's 300%. If the text on the screen says something different, the text is more correct than the words I'm saying right now. Okay, you gotta remember all the information. So not only are you getting that one first hit of extra damage with Winter Bite from Stash Executioner going invisible, which you're going to be doing all day because Winter Bite attack does slow. When you strike with Stash Executioner on Winter Bite, you also don't do weakening. You do weakening when you punch somebody and get out of Invis with Stash Executioner for melee. So not only are you getting that extra melee damage, you're getting that weakening on enemy, making them debuff for 15%. So you do 15% more damage to them while they weaken. And then if you kill them, you go back invisible because they weaken and the change will keep going. And your first hit with Winter Bite always going to do that same damage and weaken the enemy while you got all the other damage buffs on Winter Bite. They're doing the same damage. So that extra 15% debuff is just amazing. So Stash Executioner is a mandatory aspect in this build. I chose to go Winter Shroud because you get that 50% damage resistance whenever you Shade Step for 4 seconds. And I can slow the enemies, help me freeze them whenever I Shade Step near a lot of enemies while I'm invisible. So this makes it that not only I keep the Stash Executioner loop going, but I can get the freezes off to shatter the enemies in the area as well. So I went with Winter Shroud. Also, Winter Shroud gets your class beat back quicker when you slow people. Winter Bite always slowing, so that will help me get my Shade Step back if I ever Shade Step back if I don't have it yet, so I can continue my combination blow combo again, and then pull out one and bite again to continue the combo of just killing all the enemies. Okay. Fragments, we're rocking Faster to Ruin. We will be doing Shadow in this build, so we might well have this on. Plus, it's a plus 10 in weapon stat. We got on Faster Protection, so we get that more damage reduction, but also gives plus 10 in melee stat. Faster Purpose, like I said, for the Frost Armor. And then we got Faster the Blessing, which is very important in this build. Melee Final Blow, start health regeneration. That does count for glaive melee kills as well. So we always going to start our health regen every time we get a kill. So it don't matter if we red health. The next enemy we kill, we'll get our health regen immediately starting again, and we go back invisible because, again, slash execution or loop. So we always going to be having full health in this build. Never worried about survivability at all. And then if you're in Transcendence, you give health regen to you and your teammate. You won't be having Transcendence in the build a lot. And it gives plus 5% in weapon damage. But I don't think the 5% goes to the glaives because we're swinging with melee damage, not actually shooting the weapon. So keep that in mind. Artifacts. Artifact. The only thing you really need in this artifact build is nothing. Yeah, I threw y'all off. Nothing. Nothing in the artifact helps this out except Shield Crush. But Shield Crush, when you have the multiple stacks of Slash Execution, Combination Blow and stuff, Shield Crush does not give you that extra damage bonus. I have Frost Armor on. The damage number stayed the same even though I have Frost Armor on. It stayed the same while I had Slash Execution and Combination Blow and stuff up. It stayed the same. So this will not increase your damage when you have all the other stacks going. But if you don't have the other stacks going, but you do have Frost Armor on, it will increase your glaive melee damage. So it is still good to have in your back pocket in case you don't have the loop going. This will get that extra oomph that you need to get your combo back going. So that's why I have it on. Other than that, everything else in the artifact is whatever you want it to be. So if you're rocking a strand weapon, put on Threaded Blast and stuff. If you want to do some solar damage because you know you're slowing people, put on a solar weapon with Colorado Darkness on for that extra damage. It's all up to you. Artifact free to you. Elemental Overdrive, I try to be slick and get a Frost Shard in the mix. This gives you 10% extra damage for whatever weapon you're using of the elemental pickup you pick up. But I picked it up with the glaive. It did not increase the damage because, again, we're not actually shooting the glaive, so we're not actually doing the increased damage. We're just doing melee attacks with it. So this does not give it that extra 10% like I hoped it would, but it's okay. As y'all can see with the Mythic gameplay, we're doing the same damage. As y'all can see with the footage I put on the screen, well, I'm gonna put on the screen later. But yeah, mods, we're rocking Solar and Strand dual siphon because I'm rocking a Solar and Strand weapon, so I want them to make orbs so I get kills with it. And then we got Special Ammo Finder because I'm rocking Air Denial, Festival Flight, so I want to be able to keep spraying as much as I can and make orbs on the field for myself to pick up. Because of my arm piece, I'm rocking 2 melee fonts because I do not have 200 melee stat armor yet. So this helps me get that 200 melee stat having armor charges on me. And then we got Heavy Handed on. I might as well make some orbs while I'm getting my combination below stacks, right? Chest piece, you want to run your resist mods. You always got to make sure you have on melee damage resist mods when it comes to close quarter builds because it gives you that damage reduction that you need, 15%, while you're punching, and it's better than getting diminishing returns from having multiple copies of the other resist mods. Lead piece, we got a Strand Scavenger on. Again, I'm rocking a Strand weapon, whatever you want to do. And I got Strand Weapon Surge to make that stronger, and then Solar Weapon Surge to make that stronger. Because surges do not work with the glaive melee attack, only with the shots. So I cannot put on a Stasis Surge to make it stronger. Okay, and then class item we got on Reaper. We shade stepping a lot in this build, so might will make a orb. Again, melee kills are not considered weapon kills, so the glaive kills you get it with Bite, unless you're shooting with it, it's not gonna make that orb. The melee attacks we're doing will not make the orb with Reaper. This is for your other weapons. We got on Bomber. We already know our shade step getting us our melee back, so we might as well every time we spam a shade step, we get some grenade ability charge for our industrial grenade. And then we got time dilation on, so the armor tries to stay on longer, so I don't have to worry too much about the melee fonts going off too quick. So I keep my 200 stat with my melee build. Stats. Only stats you need, like I said, 200 melee stat is your priority first, and then try to get 100 weapon stat. Anything above 100 weapon stat is good for extra damage against the boss, but for regular enemies and stuff, you need at least 100 weapon stat. And then, of course, you got to have 70 class ability stats. So whenever you shade stuff with combination blow combination loop, you can get your class ability back immediately when you punch and kill somebody. In the Mythic gameplay, y'all seen I was doing that insane crap without getting my combination blow stacks. Without it. Okay? The gameplay footage y'all see in the corner is when I was getting combination blow stacks and I was deleting the enemies easily, except that wyvern that snuck me. But we killed the boss very quick with just swinging on him. It was insane, right? Doing chunks of damage, and that's -40. The gameplay in the corner is always -40. Whatever activity I'm doing at that moment. Solo portal, right? Now that I just told y'all the whole build, every damage stack we getting for when a bite, and I want to show you gameplay footage in the background when you have all of it in a synergy together. We're getting a damage buff from Triton Vice from being surrounded. We're getting a damage buff from when a bite being a feature weapon this season, and then of course it gets that 50% extra bonus when you got, you know, ammo in the magazine, right? So you get that 50% from that as well. We're getting damage bonus from our melee stat, 30% from being at 200. We're getting damage bonus from our weapon stat, 15%. Okay, we're getting a damage bonus from combination blow, 3 stacks. We're getting damage bonus from Slash Executioner and the weakening. We're getting damage bonus from shatter damage. We're getting bonus damage from having frost armor on with shield crush when we don't have all the stacks together at that moment. All of these stacks put together is what you're seeing right now, the insane damage that you see. Bungie will nerf this, because glaives are only supposed to get buffed up from melee stacks. Is this build still going to be insane when they do it? Yes. I don't think the 15% from the weapon stat is too crazy. So even when they fix this, it's still going to be a broken build. I don't know why hunters not playing with Winter Bite right now this season. It's insane. You get to be a ninja and just backstab people and one-shot them and Mythic and stuff. Use this build. Use it, okay? I don't care if you don't want to put on Winter Shroud. You can put on whatever aspect you want. You can go Ascension if you want to, okay? If you want that extra damage reduction even more with frost armor on as well, go with whatever that you feel comfortable with, but use this build, okay? Love you guys. Appreciate you guys always. And until next time, stay up.